Friends, Turkish Airlines is a company that connects the East and the West. You sat down with Airbus executives and asked them a straightforward question. Would you like to buy a very good aircraft? And you don't want to say no, do you? But the answer from Airbus executives is a definite no. While other elite airlines were competing to share in the splendor of the super jumbo jet, Emirates was snapping up A380s like collectibles. Turkish Airlines broke away several times. That's what makes it so interesting. An airport was built specifically for the A380 aircraft. That airport is in Istanbul. Look at the triple jet bridges. Check out the reinforced taxiways. Gates large enough to accommodate a Boeing 747, of course. And there's one thing that stands out. The A380 has never been part of Turkish Airlines' fleet. Why wouldn't an airline known for its bold growth make this move? Settense, the ultimate status symbol of aviation, was rejected by a company that went from being a regional player to a global giant in just 20 years. Did they see something the rest of the industry overlooked? Or was it fear or strategy? And the smartest thing happened. This was the choice. This is about prioritizing sustainability over showmanship, adaptability over prestige, and frequency over size. And what everyone needs, other airlines were operating at only half their capacity. They managed to keep their load factors above 80%. The person who did this must have had a very developed mind. They must have been very smart and intelligent. While Turkish Airlines sought consistency, its competitors were chasing capacity. Let's see how this philosophy was applied in the 2000s and 2010s. They chose aircraft with 250 to 300 seats because they could fill the aircraft comfortably. But here's the interesting part. Turkish Airlines did not ignore the super jumbo issue. They looked into larger aircraft, and someone had planted the idea of the A380 in the minds of Turkish Airlines officials, and it was ordered in those years. Facilities were prepared, foundations were laid, the prestige factor was undeniable. However, they backed out every time. Why? An aircraft that suits you beats other aircraft and takes the lead. Newsing aircraft. Turkish Airlines strategy truly shines here. While Turkish Airlines adopted a completely different strategy, Emirates had marked places like England or Dubai as important destinations. They turned Istanbul into the ultimate aviation hub. Consider this: a faster flight carrying fewer passengers was more preferred than a slower flight carrying 550 passengers. 3 A330 aircraft, each carrying 250 to 350 passengers, may have the same capacity. But here's the magic point: triple the connection capacity. A businessman living in Lagos has to wait for a plane to follow Emirates' route, but the Turks had a lot of light and small aircraft options. Missed your connection? No problem. Another flight will depart soon. Get top of these more seasons on out. There is something more important than the comfort of these aircraft. That is the ability to make multiple flights. Turkish Airlines has established a unique network with more than 300 destinations. The size of the aircraft is insignificant. What matters is establishing connections between other countries. And everyone is asking, why was Istanbul Airport designed to accommodate the A380 aircraft? The presence of those massive doors and triple jet bridges is no coincidence. Perhaps in the future they might reconsider and opt for the A380. However, they decided not to do so because they found something more valuable than raw capacity: operational flexibility. A fleet of appropriately sized aircraft can quickly adapt to changing demand, emergencies, and new opportunities. Think about it. Which would you prefer? A few multi-purpose tools that can do everything, or a single massive tool that does the job perfectly? You might feel a bit down because we're about to talk about money. In Turkish Airlines standard configuration, the A380 will likely carry around 550 passengers. To break even, there must be at least 385 passengers on board, not just on weekend flights or busy summer routes, but on every flight. Now consider January in Istanbul. Tourist activity decreases in Turkey during the winter. So is it easy or difficult to fill the plane when flying to another country? Maybe, but considering the intense competition from other airlines, and the information we'll explain later in the video, this doesn't seem very logical. Now, the planes Turks use consume 3 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers. This equates to approximately 90 to 100 magram per seat. The A380 has never achieved these fuel consumption figures. The key point is this: Turkish Airlines has ordered over 150 new generation A320, A321 neo aircraft and over 100 A350s. And the Turks are saving money due to low emissions. If you operate hundreds of flights every day, these savings add up quickly. However, this goes beyond operating costs. The A380 is powered by Rolls-Royce Trent engines, which are widely praised. But the downside is that maintenance is expensive. After reviewing its maintenance philosophy, Turkish Airlines identified an issue. To be successful, you need to be very light to be fast, and safety is extremely important. An A380 type aircraft would require special training, special spare parts and facilities, and operational numbers may be limited. From a sustainability perspective, this becomes even more evident. Turks are providing cleaner flights, so everyone is choosing the aircraft used by Turks. Therefore, the use of the A380 is decreasing. Is it better to have an aircraft that will regulate the environment or one that will reduce your expenses? The most important factor in Turkish Airlines' decision not to choose this aircraft is maintenance. Maintenance costs for the A380 are very high. In addition to being powerful, these four Trent 900 engines are rare, specialized, and challenging to maintain. And this aircraft experiences frequent malfunctions. Repairing this engine daily is extremely difficult. You need specialized knowledge, specialized equipment, and specific spare parts. If you have a fleet of 5 or 10 A380s, you essentially create an entire ecosystem of specialized maintenance for a small number of aircraft. 35 years ago, Turkish Airlines tried fly-by-wire, and everything became complicated. The infrastructure must be proportional to support complex systems. You'll probably end up spending money on things like special hangars, elevators, and reinforced facilities for a small fleet of A380s, which could harm the national economy. However, the strategic genius lies here. Turkish Airlines tried to find a solution by using A320 and Boeing 737 aircraft with dual source utilization. This strategy provides operational flexibility and significant bargaining power. Do you remember how Turkish Airlines performed better than airlines that only use Boeing narrow-body aircraft during the suspension of 737 MAX flights? And it will reduce the use of the A380. This is more than just an aircraft. It is an anomaly that requires special solutions. The A380 represented a complexity that did not provide proportional benefits for an airline built on operational flexibility and systematic efficiency. Turks provide better flight opportunities than other countries. Would you risk operational excellence for the prestige of flying the most complex passenger aircraft in aviation? Here we are. The main reason Turkish Airlines rejected the A380 has nothing to do with missing an opportunity, and much more. The A380's massive size and 575-ton engineering marvel, capable of carrying as many people as a small city, amazed its competitors. Size isn't the most important thing. What matters most is being ahead of and smarter than other airlines. Their response changed the course of modern aviation strategy. Instead of betting on superjumbos, they built a network that could quickly adapt. The 737 wasn't flying during the pandemic, but the Turks were ahead. When new markets emerged, they left their competitors, who were limited to rigid aircraft, behind. The A380's glory days are over. The planes are being parked and left to rot. Emirates is also beginning to phase out the A380. However, Turkish Airlines' strategy is just beginning. The narrow-body aircraft are engineering marvels like a true genius. That's what makes the story so fascinating. The rejection of the A380 isn't about money. Money can be found somehow. They had the resources, facilities, and motivation. They rejected it because they knew something important about the future of the aviation industry. Success is not about the aircraft's cabin. It's about intelligence and establishing connections between countries. Sometimes rejecting the most appealing option is the best course of action. While observing that Turkish Airlines continues to grow, add new routes, increase flight frequencies, and form alliances, the question arises, is it more important to be the largest company or to establish connections between countries to operate more flights? Turkish Airlines' decision explains everything. Just as in life, in aviation too, sometimes the most effective choice is the one you choose not to make. What do you think? In a society obsessed with being the biggest and flashiest, is prioritizing substance over flashiness refreshing? Did you choose the worst idea instead of the better one and become number one? Share your thoughts below. If this airline has changed your mind, other airlines will reset your thinking. Because sometimes the most interesting aviation stories are not about the planes that flew, but the ones that never did.